Blue wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we have a special offer for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code SOS at checkout. Just pay $5 in shipment. That's bluechew.com, promo code SOS to receive your first month for free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Welcome to another episode of SOS VHS. Today we have another great guest. He's an actor, comedian, podcaster, a great friend of the Bad Friends family. His name is Adam Reid, and his favorite movie is The Dark Knight. So, grab your popcorn, and here we go.
Bro, thanks for having me. Big fan. You're great on the show, dude. And congrats. This is a new show for you, right?
Yeah.
It's all just you. Out of the shadows of the ginger and the Asian.
Exactly.
What's his name again?
Yeah.
Daryl. Very cool.
Steve.
Oh, man.
So let me start by asking you a question about, I understand that you were class clown on high school, or that you were voted like, something like that. Is that true?
Are you just going to talk to me like you're not dressed as the Joker? This is amazing.
Can you do a Joker voice? You probably can do
Oh, I think everyone, when that movie came out,
I know.
Almost annoyingly, every guy, like, I feel like I saw so many actors posting videos in full makeup being like, why so serious? Or like, but then you'd see funny ones of guys, and like, to me, the ones that stood out were like the guy'd be in a Taco Bell drive-thru, and he's like, how much cheese is in your gordita crunch? And I was like, well, that's kind of funny. Or maybe the Joker, I don't know. I'm always a fan of the quick impressions of like, here's the Joker, coming too quick on his first day of a porn shoot called, the darkest cock. I don't know. I'm improv stuff. So here he is. So, it's like stuff like that really piques my interest. But right. I think, everyone's got some. Heath Ledger, and we're getting right into it here.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger, to me, is, even though he had a short-lived career, did a lot of stuff, but, didn't even get to reach his full potential, I think is still should be considered one of the greatest actors we've ever had. That performance is bonkers.
Yeah.
But so, yeah.
Joker?
Yeah, I will say that. The Nicholson one, Nicholson is also, I'm a big Nicholson guy.
Yeah.
And that's the third time I've said that today. I think Jack's Joker was set the table, and also just really made that movie extra special. I think also Keaton's the best Batman. That Batman, but I think it's almost like the way people talk about SNL casts. Mm-hmm. Where you were in your life. High school is usually the time that's synonymous with how much you enjoyed that show. So the Batman with Keaton and Nicholson is what I remember coming up on, and probably being in the right age where I was like, wow. Was it Kim Basinger was in that?
Yes.
I think I don't know if I had wet dreams or just came in my pants a lot, but she and that, and then My Stepmother is an Alien, I think I would see, it was on like cable, because, we couldn't record stuff onto a VHS until maybe a year later. Otherwise, I would have had, I think it was the first time I saw a real tit that wasn't my mom's, was Basinger in My Stepmother's an Alien. Yeah. And I had a stepmother at that time, so it was already, tugging at the heartstrings as far as like, this isn't what my stepmom looks like, Right. Otherwise, I'd be, staring at those. But,
oh yeah, but she's beautiful in that movie. It's like
she's gorgeous, yeah.
Like, hello, beautiful.
Is that one of her lines?
Yeah.
Oh, or was that the Joker meeting Kim Basinger? Yeah. Exactly. Was this the way you said that? Yeah. I don't know if your natural voice is a little jokery, or you were trying to do, hello, beautiful.
Exactly.
Nice Basinger tits.
When do you remember when you? Yeah. Oh yeah, the producers here.
Yeah, I'm here.
What's your name again?
Hey, I'm Pete. I died.
Pete, great to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too. I'm sorry, I'm dead. I can't really move.
Oh, good, dude.
Just my mouth.
I'll touch it for you. That's what she said.
I'm pretty sure that most people have seen this movie, but could you give me a quick summary of The Dark Knight?
Sure. I think what people love about the Batman films in general is the sense of loss. Everyone can connect to that. As a kid, I'm not a huge superhero guy. You know, I played Wolverine at Universal Studios from 2005 to 2008. Before my boss, Jenna, shout out, ex-Disney princess who put on a little bit of weight and then decided to have a little bit of an attitude towards people that were now, running the character shop at Universal and trying to, move on from that world. She would chastise me many a times when Bad Friends' own Bobby Lee was starting to take me on the road doing stand-up comedy, and I was like, right. Bobby, I'm also Wolverine, man. I'm splitting time here. And he's like, well, do you want to stay there forever and die as fake Wolverine? I was like, wow, did not think of it like that.
Right.
So I started calling in sick and to go on the road with Bobo, and that became a nice way to make money and also just get experience. And it really just changed a lot of stuff for me. It didn't change my life. Bobby was so generous on the road and still is. And I think he's definitely set the standard for me when I started headlining of how to treat openers and how to just treat people.
Oh yeah,
Bobby doesn't get enough.
Great eye for also comics and how.
Oh, totally.
Everybody who he.
Even though he doesn't give me enough shout outs when he talks about his past openers, but that's fine. You forget the greats. No, but he really deserves a lot of credit for how considerate he is to other people, especially comics coming up. But so left the Wolverine world and it gave me a little bit more of an interest in the comic book character world. But Batman to me always was the coolest because, I don't know, it's like even Nicholson said it for all of us. Where does he get those wonderful toys, you know? I mean, fuck, he had a butt plug that was a stopwatch, and he had a fucking, I don't know, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but he had fucking, the car in of itself was unreal. I think isn't the Caped Crusader his nickname?
Yeah.
Or is that
the Caped
Carmen
Crusader.
Sandiego? Who is that? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Carmen Sandiego also had a cape, and also a fucking fat clit. I don't know. She was a woman. Yeah. You couldn't tell. The hat and the coat sometimes were misleading. I digress. But the first Batman, saw it, became a fan, and I think like most kids, I was like, man, I'm waiting for the story to expand. Enter Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan's like, oof, you ever taken NyQuil and DayQuil at the same time? Well, fucking get ready to experience that on the big screen with Christian Bale. And people shit on his Batman voice, but like kind of has entered into the zeitgeist of like, like, here's another quick impression for you.
Yep.
Here's Christian Bale's Batman trying to find the clit. And I know I've already done one clit joke.
But it was the right
finish
spot.
The thought? Yeah. Finish the what? To the right spot? Oh, wow. It is your show.
Nice.
Wait, now say that looking into the camera going like this. Yeah, all right. That was a bad idea. Yeah. All right. Here's Bruce Wayne, Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne, looking for the clitoris. Where is she? Where is she? I don't know. That sounded better in my head.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
All right. So why do I like The Dark Knight? What is The Dark Knight about?
Yeah. What's The Dark Knight about?
We got regular Katie Couric over here. What do you think it's about? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great if you hadn't seen it, but you just were like, no, is this what the makeup looks like? Yeah. Is this who the Joker is? No, great makeup job, by the way.
Thank you. They went all in.
I saw your episode with Bobby when you did Pulp Fiction. And so part of me was like, fuck, should I dress up? Didn't have enough time. I do have a Batman suit that I bought my sophomore year of college. I went to USC and it was in a frat, and there was a themed party called Saving Lives. And I had this Batman suit that I bought because everyone was a nurse and a doctor and firefighter, and I went as Batman. There's only one as Batman. And it was the first time I ever blacked out drinking. I think only 2 other times it's happened in my 41 years. Or I'm 41. In my 20, I've only been drinking about 20 years, I guess. So in my 20, I didn't come out of the womb like shot. But we can edit that out. I passed out and blacked out in the Batman suit and got carried down the fraternity row by a couple of bros. And our fraternity row at USC was one strip, like sorority, fraternity, one after the other for a long street. So it was like when people went out, they'd walk along the street from house to house. They'd sit on the porches. It was just the whole street was a party starting on Thursday night. Pretty cool. And God, I miss those days.
What year was that?
2000, my sophomore year, so 2003. No, I'm sorry. I graduated, 2003.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of commotion, a lot of people on Thursday night, and I'm getting carried down. It's about 11:15 at night. And one of my buddies, the same way in Jerry Maguire, when they're like, Rod, wake up, you got to see this. And he looks around and he's like, wait, just let me enjoy it for a minute. Before he gets up, my buddy goes, dude, you got to wake up. And I kind of slowly open my eyes and everyone on the row is like cheering and screaming like, Batman! Because Batman is being drunk, carried by 4 dudes down the row, and everyone was like going nuts, cheering for me. It's the greatest I've ever felt. And I'll never achieve more happiness. No, it was a sad day. I held onto that Batman suit and then went on the show Blind Date. Remember the show Blind Date hosted by Roger Lodge? I went on as a joke twice. I wore a wig and I brought the Batman suit because in my head I was like, oh, it'll be really funny when we get to the hot tub. Hopefully we make it that far. We didn't. She was from Chico State. We drank Manischewitz wine. They wanted me to give her a Hebrew lesson. They're like, you're a Jew, do some Jew stuff. They didn't say it like that, but it was implied. And so I taught her a Hebrew lesson. We drank Manischewitz wine. We took tequila shots. She passed out in the van, and we didn't make it to the hot tub. But in my head, I was like, man, it'll be funny if we're sitting in the hot tub and there's a wide shot of her in a bikini and me in a Batman suit. And then they cut to a close-up of me and I go, bathing suit. They said bring a bathing suit, not Batman suit. And I told that to the producer and he goes, dude, what?
Show.
What are you?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? Yeah, different show. He's like, aren't you trying to get laid and meet the love of your life? I was like, fuck no, on this show. Anyway, so the Batman suit I had because that was my favorite character. Again, this all goes back to the story of The Dark Knight.
Yes.
That was your original question. Thank you. Dark Knight starts off and look, it's chaos right out of the gate. Bank robbery. Any good, villain-based heist, the city's on fire, arm the teachers, just fucking where people are freaking out, losing their mind, very, very Florida-esque when you see a crime-filled movie where you feel like everyone in that city is like, they're introducing trans math and Hebrew science, just people are not all there. And I'm sorry if you have listeners from Florida that are like, that's not what they say. Well, fucking Google it. So the buses drive out of the bank and Heath Ledger is not wearing the Joker makeup yet. No, he is.
He is.
He's wearing a mask, though. It's terrifying. And he basically robs the whole bank and then shoots all of his homies that helped him rob it. That's gangster right off the bat. Mm-hmm. One of his buddies gets out of the bus, remember, and he's like, hey, where are the other guys? And then Heath Ledger shoots him and then just keeps walking. It was so cool. And then this actor, he's a great character actor. He was on like Roseanne for a couple episodes and he was on Entourage. I think he was Johnny Drama's boss. Remember when Johnny was like, I don't want to do Johnny Bananas, Phil. I'm an actor. I don't want to do cartoons. Hey, Turtle, find me a blowjob. If you haven't seen any episode of Entourage, that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my boy Jerry. So this guy's lying on the ground and he's like, you have no respect. He's like doing a Rodney Dangerfield bit. He's like, you got no respect for anybody. You're just a thug. And then Heath Ledger comes over and takes the mask off. Looks just like you, Andres. And he's like, you remind me of my father, who once said, one in the pink, two in... I forget the fucking dialogue, but he said, you remind me of my dad. And I always hated my dad. And then he put the fucking smoke bomb in his mouth and drove away. And then, of course, Gotham's like, the city's on fire. Mm-hmm. The kids are shitting their pants at recess. Moms and MILFs are getting scissored in their hot tubs. People are freaking out is my point.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot going on and there's not enough control. And Batman's like, somebody's got to do something about this. And Michael Caine's like, what? I thank you, Batman. Batman, I thank you. I never said I could do a Michael Caine. I can feel the judgment in this room. So Michael Caine convinces Bruce Wayne to step it up to the streets, too. Wouldn't that be great if he was like, I think you need to step it up to the streets. And then looks in the camera and goes, bing. And you just get a little QR code for buy Step Up to the Streets on DVD. Andres, I can feel that you're starting to tune out. And that's on me. You asked me one question and I've taken, this is what Rick Glassman gives me a hard time about. He's like, you don't shut the fuck up. You just ramble and ramble.
No,
And
I mean, I'm used to comedians and I love them.
Okay.
But I feel like they're always on.
Yeah, and I also just, you're a good listener. So you're making it easy. Also, yeah, I might have taken a puff of marijuana before I came in here. And usually that puts you to sleep, but it's gotten me more excited to talk about one of my favorite movies, The Dark Knight.
Yeah, why is this one of your favorite movies?
Great question. So I went to acting school 2001 to 2005, USC out here. Had financial aid. My mom sucked off the principal. That's not true. She didn't Sally Field Forrest Gump it. Although she would have if she knew it would have saved some dough. She wouldn't have. We'll keep that in. But she financial aid. Single mom. Got some help. Got some scholarship money. SC's expensive. Not as much as it is now. I can't imagine going to college now. I mean, dear God, I think it was $38 a year when I went. I think now it's like close to $70. That's too much. Hey, that's too much. I hadn't been inspired by a performance in a movie in a long time. Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump in Philadelphia. Brilliant. Kevin Clash as the voice of Master Splinter in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1.
Right.
Incredible.
That's it as your ranking and then
yeah.
And then
Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Original. So good. Johnny Depp in Finding Neverland. There's a lot of performances that have really tugged at my heartstrings. Keith Ledger. Wow, clearly he's one of my favorite actors.
Definitely.
Toby Keith was so good in The Last Samurai. No, Heath Ledger just blew my mind. I remember going to the theater.
But this is after your school.
After school, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I graduated in 2005. This was 2008. I think The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
I want to flip this on you real quick. What did you think of his performance when you saw it? Did you see it in the theater?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. I saw it. It was the first movie I saw that had the IMAX scenes and then normal scenes together. I was like blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in film school actually.
Congrats. Where at?
At Columbia, New York.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was, I saw the movie like, wow, this is what I want to do,
Yeah.
And
So that movie turned the ship for you.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those that came when I was older that had a big impact. But because like you said, most of the movies that I saw in that high school period are the ones that are ingrained in my head as like, these are the movies,
Which other ones are up there for you with Dark Knight?
Oof. So many. Jurassic Park is one, and then Schindler's List, like that year for Spielberg.
Wow. Okay.
Back to the Future.
It's always weird to hear someone say they love Schindler's List. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
As a Jew, I'm like,
yeah.
What'd you love about it?
It's just like, yeah, sure. Like I think.
No, I'm asking, what'd you love about it?
Filmmaking wise, I thought it was amazing. Yeah, it's a little depressing.
A little depressing.
Yeah. I mean, it has the hope and all. Anyway.
You're like, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But like all the dark movies from the 70s, loved all of those, that movie brats, those kids who were making movies.
True Romance?
True Romance I like, but I like the Tarantino doing Tarantino better.
Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Phenomenal.
One of the best movies in the last years.
Okay. I knew we were going to be friends. I think that too.
Yeah.
I think Leo and Brad Pitt in that are, it's just, I could watch it. There's not many 3-hour movies I could watch a lot. I've YouTubed the scene, that final scene, and if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but where Brad Pitt, that fight scene at the end.
Yeah. Yep.
It's unbelievable. When he laughs before when he's
I love how he, Tarantino in general, his role, but the difference I think between like something like Christopher Nolan and him is Christopher Nolan took this serious, kind of like he made a movie, not as a superhero movie, but if this was possible, this would be as close to that as possible.
1,000%.
Right? Versus Tarantino is like, no, it's a movie about a movie, and I don't care if any of this is possible.
I know. Yeah. He's really got, I met Tarantino at the Comedy Store about 5 months ago, and I get off stage, and the manager of the club goes, Tarantino's out there. I go, holy shit. I go, did he watch my set? He goes, yeah, he laughed the whole time. I go, oh my God. He goes, actually, the guy that laughed at one point in the show, like towards the end of a joke, it was just kind of quiet, and somebody just goes, ha! And I go, Jesus Christ, sir, is that how you really fucking laugh? I go, what a great laugh. I go, that must be tough when your friends are thinking about inviting you out. I just kind of ripped them first to laugh or whatever. And I go, meh, you know? And then I was like, but I'm glad. And I did this whole thing about people that audibly laugh versus, keep it contained. And so the manager was like, the guy that you were busting balls was Quentin. That was his laugh.
That's
and I go,
funny.
Jesus Christ. So we go out to the patio and I had a flight at I think 8 a.m. to Baltimore to do shows that weekend. And it was, Quentin was, maybe 5, was it 5 a.m.? There was only a direct flight, whatever it was. I went out to the patio and Quentin came out and he was like, want to grab a drink? Great set. I was like, I changed my flight from, I think the 8 a.m. one to the 5:30 a.m. one, which means I was going to stay up all night because I think it was a direct flight because I had shows that night. So I stayed on the patio and we chatted for about 2 hours about movies, comedy. I'll never forget it. And I asked him a couple of questions about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and about that last scene. And he told me there were a lot of things Brad just, he's like, dude, Brad's Brad. Brad's Brad. He just brought to the page. There's stuff on the page that is there for him. But then, I mean, he just, he was just, dude, he was just, I'm just watching in awe as he speaks about, his genius.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. We always talk about sex in this podcast because I'm European. Sex is just part of life. Nothing taboo about it. So if you have any issues downstairs, if things are not working properly, go to bluechew.com and talk to one of their licensed medical professionals and see if they can help you. I have a couple friends who have tried it, and I can tell you their confidence level is up, their happiness is up, and it's a very simple process. Do you want to bring heat in the bedroom? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, bluechew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescriptions within days. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we got a special offer for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use the promo code SOS at checkout. Just pay $5 in shipment. That's bluechew.com, promo code SOS to receive your first month for free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information, and we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
But
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, I think, really crushed aesthetically. I think you probably really appreciated the shot selection.
Yeah.
And how grand the movie. It was just a big movie.
Yes, but the most important thing for me was that performance. I think like this character, the Joker, was such a. I mean, they always say that the movie's gonna be as good as your bad guy, and this bad.
Oh,
guy,
is that what they say?
Yeah, in terms of like those type.
Oh,
of movies.
cool. He felt like a real person.
Yeah,
I think Jack Nicholson's Joker was cartoony to me.
right.
Even though he was still grounded because Jack is Jack. Like,
But
as
the
good-
world of Tim Burton is a little cartoony anyway.
It is.
So it's
Great
a great
call.
movie, but it's
No, it is. It is. Yeah.
fantasy.
It's fantasy. And Heath Ledger was a real guy that I felt was like, I could see a backstory with this guy. I
Right.
could see that he was had a fucked up childhood and that he just was, I don't know, man. It was so good. I honestly was like, almost got goosebumps watching it.
And so was it the performance that
That made the
like,
movie.
for
The
you,
movie
this
I thought was really great. Entertaining. I'm not a real big, I don't want to say movie buff, but critic as far as when I walk out of a film, I don't need to be moved or changed. If it happens, it's because of the performance.
Right.
The last movie that I felt that way was again, my boy Hanks in My Man is Otto, or my Otto. What is it? Otto.
A guy called Otto.
A Guy Called Otto.
Yeah.
That
A man called Otto.
was that?
A man called Otto.
A Man Called Otto.
Yeah.
I thought it was Uncle Otto.
Yeah.
Either way, he just delivered, and I really was like taken aback by how good he was. And look, there's every movie that comes out, somebody's great, but I think those performances that like just kind of take you out of the movie for a minute and where you are like, wow, they're few and far between. And
so was your dream growing up to be like an actor like that? Like,
no, but great question, because my dream, I guess, when I started to kind of, I quit football my sophomore year of high school to play Danny Zuko in Grease. And after I did that, plays were always fun for me. I liked being on stage. I liked to pretend. I liked to, even in preschool, I vividly remember they had a trunk of like, hats and coats and like masks. And I remember just loving to play pretend. That's why I love doing, character stuff. Now I just did this, Dr. Phil live show with Bill Burr at the Comedy Store that we did this whole special on. It's out on my YouTube channel, and I got in full prosthetic as Dr. Phil. And I've done a bunch of wild characters, over the years, from my gal Jen Aspinall, who was the makeup girl on the Mad TV reboot that I met her on. That's the right response. Just silence. Nobody saw it. It was on the CW. Hey, when you want comedy, you go to the CW. And so meeting her was a real treat, because I've gotten to create some fun things and play around. And I loved to do that as a kid. And I didn't really think I wanted to act until I started doing these plays, and it was just so fun. And I like the collab of the theater world, and creating from the ground up is just really where I get off. It's creating something out of nothing and with people, and is just so
but
satisfying.
Did you get enough attention from your parents, or do you want to, do you went into this world because you got attention?
Great question too. I thought about that recently, because anyone who's on stage, I think for sure, anyone who's doing comedy, there's some, you're not getting something. But I will say this, like, my folks split when I was 9. Thanks for bringing it up. And yeah, there's probably a lack of dad attention. But my mom crushed it. But I never felt, I felt like I started to like be goofy and make people laugh, because I really started to recognize how it made people feel. And I know that's like, sounds like, that's a fucking dude, that's deep, man. But I think it's pretty accurate. It's like, it made me feel good, and it didn't feel like it was, degrading or taking a lot out of me, or that challenging to, a little bit when you're trying to, you're doing an impression of a teacher in front of another teacher to make a kid laugh, or, putting a fucking whoopee cushion on my teacher's chair in 4th grade to make the class laugh, and then get. So
you were always like that.
But I wasn't like, always silly, but not until really, I'd say 4th grade did I really start to. I mean, I remember trying to make my friend laugh during the Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech. We were watching it in the 1st grade, and I memorized it at home just so I could lip sync it to him during class. Just the idea of lip syncing it made him laugh. And so I was like, I'm going to memorize the whole thing, and when we watch it in class, I'm going to do it to him. It's not like I fucking dressed up in blackface and did it in the back of the room. I just he was just laughing at the fact that I knew it all, and I was like making faces while I was doing it. Very inappropriate, probably looking back, but so she like
kind of a principle of comedy, subverting something serious, and that little thing funny.
So needing attention, I don't know how much that was. I'm sure that's always there. Again, if you're on stage, you're needing some sort of a validation from strangers is not normal. But and
this is in Seattle, no?
This is in Seattle, where I grew up. And so then acting became at the forefront for me, because I was like, this is fun. I want to. Doing serious movies would be. Robin Williams was always kind of the guy for me that I looked at. That's the career I would love to have. Mrs. Doubtfire, that's a great example of something that type of a movie where you're doing characters. It's so heartfelt. It's so honest. And there's a real story there. And then it's fucking gets kind of gut wrenching. And it's, I was doing a bit about that for a while, because my buddy took, my buddy's dad took myself, and another couple friends to see Mrs. Doubtfire for his birthday, like pizza party and Mrs. Doubtfire. Because the trailer for the movie was like, oh, another classic Robin Williams comedy. Like, he's like, hello, and it's a run by fruiting. And you're like, dude, this looks fucking hilarious. And then the opening scene, Sally Field's like, get the fuck out.
Right.
It's over. You had a fucking petting zoo, you fucking cocksucker. And I'm like, I just saw this same fight 48 hours ago. This is very triggering.
Right. Your parents were like in the middle of the.
Oh yeah. So I'm like, dude, this is like taking someone back to Iraq after they just watched Black Hawk Down,
Right.
So there's probably a better example. But it was triggering is my point. But I love that type of of an actor. So I was like, oh, that would be cool to be able to do that. So as I went to acting school and got some drama under my belt, and
So you always wanted to do that?
yeah,
And
I think
always thought of LA as your...
yeah, because it was close to Seattle. I had an audition for NYU in New York, but our basketball team, my senior year of high school, was a game away from making the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, and I loved basketball. Is my favorite sport, and I was like, I'm not skipping this game. And so I skipped my audition. I was like, I'll do my Seattle theater school audition and my LA one, and then whatever happens. But my mom was very adamant about, like, you got to go away for school. You got to get out of here, even though she was by herself at the time. And, you know,
sacrifice.
yeah, I wanted to stay close to her, but she's like, you got to get out. And I was like, all right, bitch, easy, you know. And so I went down to LA, and I'm glad I did, because even just being here for 4 years, even when I graduated, I felt like I was getting reintroduced to LA. I wasn't leaving campus to go do stand-up. The acting school was rigorous. I was making sure I was around to have a social life, and I was dating a girl in Santa Barbara, so I'd go back and forth there every now and then, and which was kind of taken away from some of my college experience for the first few years, and then she married my best friend from childhood in Seattle, so everything works out the way it's supposed to. And I hope they're happy. I made a cartoon about them doing that and put it on YouTube.
Did you introduce them?
No, they knew each other. They
Okay.
basically just started fucking after we broke up. And then my buddy was like, "Is this cool?" And I was like, "He's like, because if it's not, hey man, there's only one you. There's a million girls." I was like, "Wow, what a fucking powerful speech," you know? I was like, "Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, I don't know how you and I continue being homies,
Right.
Because it's, you know, I thought I was gonna marry this girl at one point. It just feels like an unwritten guy code that you don't. I don't know. We were together for almost 4 years.
He broke the code.
He broke the bro code, yeah. And so he was like, "Dude, enough said," you know. And he basically was telling me without telling me, like, it's that, you know, it's not worth it. And then they got married, and I was like, and he invited me, and he actually called me up, and he goes, "You know, when I got to your name, I go, I want him to be there because one of my best buds, but I can't help but feel like you might be in the back, like talking shit." I go, "If you think I would come to your wedding, first of all, come to it, and then stand in the back and like heckle you, hey man, we are where we are. And thanks for the call. Nice to hear from you.
Right.
Happy fucking. Enjoy your life. Name your first kid after me. Mazel." You know.
Right. But moving on.
And so anyway,
So
would you ask me what my PIN number was? What would you ask me? What was the question?
what was your first break in LA? Apart from the Wolverine.
I have no opinion.
Yeah, got to LA. Well, let me just say this last thing too about the Heath Ledger performance.
Yeah.
When you were saying how it inspire me, like I wanted to be. Robin Williams' career seemed great, but seeing the Heath Ledger one, I guess why I also chose this movie was that performance really motivated my I guess hunger and zest for not wanting to just do like comedies. You know, my acting teachers were always like, "Oh, you're a leading man, and like you gotta like don't just be looking at. I know you're the funny guy and you like to do that, but like you've got chops to do drama." And you know, I guess it is easier in a way, they say, than comedy, but like I also just feel like because of some of the, you know, whether it's the, you know, divorce trauma or, you know, being a fat kid and getting teased by a lot of, you know, and all that stuff, I'm able to access a sensitivity, I think, pretty quickly in any parts I do that require it. And so again, the character stuff with Heath Ledger and seeing how sincere.
Would you go that far to prepare for a role?
Well, that is exciting and challenging and fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Because look what it did to him, man. It broke him, I think.
Yeah, the rumor says that Jack Nicholson told him not to do the role, that it was gonna be
no way
hard on him, like, and yeah, I mean, because I think he stayed in a hotel room for 2 months preparing like the laughter and the look, and he did his own makeup. When he came out of that room, Christopher Nolan saw him and said to the makeup department, "Let's do it like this," you know, like, oh, he kept a journal. So kind of like going full method.
Wow.
Which is worth it.
What if
for
you
us.
were doing that? What if this wasn't your real accent or voice?
Right. This
What if
is
you were
this
just
I
for the podcast?
I commit, you know, 100%.
Have you always talked like this?
Always, like
No,
for
I love
10
when-
years.
For 10 years? I love when you just went 100%. Where are you from again?
Spain.
Spain. Fuck.
Yeah.
You have a very, I enjoy your accent.
Thank you.
And your cadence and your dialect. And
Yeah.
when did your English get real strong, do you think? For real?
When so I went to school in New York and went to school with George, and he would bust my balls every day. So thanks to him, I would get, because I like comedy a lot and I like to be funny, not in a stand-up way, but like being able to
Yeah, you got good timing.
jokes and like kind of like play with the people, and it's so difficult in a different language, and like I
almost
couldn't be
impossible.
me in English.
No.
So that was so difficult to so it took me a couple of years. So you love impressions.
Yeah, I liked acting.
Since you were a kid, is that
I
a
think
part
it's
of your...
important if you're telling a story that you paint the picture.
Yeah.
And so whether that's doing the voice and the face or not, I mean, man, if I'm telling a story about some dickhead on a plane that when I was pressing the TV on the back of the seat a little bit too hard and he turned around, which this really happened about 2 months ago, and this guy turns around and goes, "Hey, man, fuck you doing? Press it softer." So yeah, I try to like come up with a voice as close to what I remember it being.
Yeah.
A face, whatever, because it helps to paint the picture, and it's
very entertaining.
it's entertaining. I don't know, if you're telling a story and there's no ending, it better be entertaining. And most people, comedians are pretty good at it because they just understand the flow of needing a beginning, middle, and end, and also having something to wrap it up in, and just having an ending, a punch of some sort.
Right.
And so when you hear people that tell stories that are not comedians and they are bad, it's oof. I go out of my way. It's not that I can't handle dead air and silence, but like I have to chime in with a joke or a question to kind of continue the story on and look for more ammo for him to wrap it up on, because it's just like, oof, it's crippling socially. But it's also, some people like to sit in that awkwardness, but yeah, man, I think the big break you asked, my first TV gig was a guest star on According to Jim. It was a show with Jim Belushi in 2007. And I booked that. It was the season premiere, and I had 3 scenes. And I was like, here we go. According to Jim, I'm about to be a superstar. And then 6 years went by until I got another job. That's just how it goes, I guess. That's how it went for me. It's different for everybody. There's no blueprint, which is why.
So you went back to Wolverine.
Oh yeah, no, I was still doing Wolverine when I shot that. I didn't get According to Jim and go, "Hey, take the claws and the fangs and suck my sideburns."
Did you wanna at that moment? Were you considering doing comedy as a stand-up, or you acting was like movies, TV was the goal?
I think I understood that I needed to do as much as possible and have as many skills and weapons at my disposal. And I always wanted to do stand-up.
Yeah.
And once I graduated acting school, I did a couple plays post-school, but it took up so much time. And YouTube had just hit, and I had done a lot of videos and sketches in high school. My sophomore year of high school, there was the senior class, and the leadership class people had these, VHS cameras and whatever, and they made a new show. They decided to make Shorecrest was our high school. They made SCNN. SC Shorecrest were our initials for the school. So SCNN, the student Shorecrest News Network. And so every Friday for 3 to 5 minutes, there'd be before every class on all the TVs in every classroom, they would play these seniors, like 8 seniors would do like, they'd start with them at a news desk and be like, there's a football game on Friday. And
right. Every school does
and none
that.
of them are funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching this being like, how the fuck are they on? Like, and then there was a guy, hey, let's go to this guy with weather. And then it would be a shitty edit. And then a guy would be, and then they dump water on a guy and go, oh, it's going to rain tomorrow. Mm. And then you hear a guy laughing in the background, dude, Jared, do it again. We didn't get to what, And then now let's go and then a guy in a football uniform and make sure to get your ASB card and blah, blah, blah. And the game starts at 7 and science club. It was just all giving up student announcements through this platform. And I'm watching it being like, man, what a cool opportunity. They're going to allow these guys to be on for 5 minutes in front of the whole school every Friday. So my best friend at the time, this kid Kirk Huffman, we made a bunch of funny home movies because it would rain a lot in Seattle. You get a lot of good musicians, comedians, athletes out of the Northwest because you gotta find a way to
stay indoors,
indoor activities,
Right.
And so we started fucking around making home movies and stuff. And we always loved The State, with Tom Lennon and all those guys and Michael Showalter and SNL obviously and Living Color. And so we just started to make funny movies. And so when we got to high school, we were like, what an opportunity. We took it over. They graduated. We took it over the next year and did it sophomore, junior, senior year. And by my senior year, it was 15 to 20 minutes long. So some teachers were like, fuck that. We're not playing this. This is almost a quarter of class. And we would turn into a sketch show. Like we really were shooting these full on sketches and people wanted to be in it. And we use teachers and we had characters and I bought all these wigs and we did all these, and it was really fun. And so having that, when YouTube hit, I tried to be active as far as putting up stuff, to help just, start to feel out if I'm on the right track comedy wise.
Yeah.
Not to really gain followers and start to make money, but just to be like, we start throwing some shit out there and see how people respond and see if I'm even, in the right vicinity comedy wise with what people are into.
Yeah, I feel with actors and comedians and also they're different muscles, but you need that external validation at one point. Someone
1,000%.
saying, okay, you're funny or you can do it. Who was that person or how did that happen for you?
My mom she always encouraged me, but she always thought I was great in the plays but she never like overly did it to where I had this false sense of, probably my friends, a handful, like a buddy of mine named Joe Ansonsich, Adam French, Chris DeLeon, you need people that make you laugh too, so that and those guys, and my buddy Kirk, obviously, a kid named Colin Sullivan, Anthony Ariema, they were so funny to me. So when I made them laugh, I knew I was onto something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yeah, they were very funny to me and still are. And I make them laugh a lot, which is great. Now I'm doing it professionally, whatever. But they don't just laugh at everything I say. We're so comfy and they've known me for so long that they just look at me. Not after they don't go, oh, it's according to Jim's Adam Ray. They don't, you're supposed to laugh. That was,
I'm laughing inside.
Okay. Wait, what's your Joker laugh? Oh boy.
Yeah, I know.
Yikes.
That's why I'm not.
That was the Pillsbury Doughboy as the Joker. I don't know. YouTube was helpful to kind of get some reps.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it was...
we're doing all the open mics.
All the open mics, stand up. I started to do that. And then I was working in a casting office, trying to audition as much as possible for voiceover, commercials, acting. Then I stopped doing commercials because I was like, they're just picking wallpaper. And I realized a lot of the guys I was auditioning against knew the whole casting and producers way more than I did. So I was like, oh, one of them is going to get it.
Right.
And I also went in for an Olive Garden commercial once. It was one of the last things I auditioned for. I was pretty hungover. They said, wear a nice suit. I could only find a sport coat and the Reading Rainbow t-shirt that I slept in the night before. I was in there pretty hungover, and I drove all the way to Santa Monica from Hollywood, and it was like 9 a.m., and the guy was like, all right, so you guys are just going to improvise a little scene before the actual dialogue. It's right up there. James, you're going to be guy 1, Adam, be guy 3, Lisa, be the girl, obviously, and Brian, you can be guy 2, maybe 4 if you can get that second line at the end. We'll improvise a little bit of a scene, just like you guys are hanging out, your friends are having dinner, and action. And I just go, sorry guys, a long night. Went to see Jurassic Park 2. Not good. Not as good as the first. Does not hold up. Not as much dinosaur action. And then I don't remember what happened after that. I think I slept in my car. Definitely still have puke on my jacket. Pass me a breadstick, David. And the guy goes, cut. How about a real dinner conversation? Like actual friends have. And I was like, my bad, dude. I was pulling from what literally transpired 8 hours ago. And he goes, cool. Brian, why don't you start off this? And Adam, just join in when you get to your line and then just leave it at that. And then I didn't talk again for the rest of the commercial. And then I just,
So you didn't book it.
I didn't book it.
Yeah.
It would have been great if I did book it. They're like, this guy's different. This guy's got moxie. He does what he wants. So I don't know. You got to use all the stuff you got. And the act, being on stage made me want to try stand up. I always want to do SNL. I was like, a lot of those guys come from that background.
Yeah.
So in 2007, 2 years after I graduated, I was like, I'm gonna start doing open mics. And I also loved being on the stage from doing plays. Mm-hmm. And I was doing a lot of improv and sketch, but it was getting like an improv group together to rehearse and sketch stuff. It was just it was fine for the sketch videos, but for improv stuff, it was like, man, 5-6 people to coordinate. Stand up, all you got to worry about is you.
Yeah.
And the few times I did it, it was fun, and it would be like, oh, that was a great experience, and then that was awful. And that back and forth contrast was like really exciting as far as like, oh, I want to. If you're starting out stand up, people are always like, you know, I want to try it or I want to do this. It's like, well, try it for sure if you want. There's nothing that says you can't try it. People that always say I've been thinking about trying, I'm like, you're not going to do it.
Right.
You just, you know,
No,
that's fine if you've been thinking about it for like a couple of days and then you're like, I'm going up.
No, it's a very scary thing.
It is scary. And I think early on, either you have a set where you bomb and you go, fuck, that sucked. I'm going up tomorrow or later tonight. Where else can I go up so I can erase that feeling and improve and just
Yeah, you have to
try
have that
again.
inside. If not, you quit. Yeah.
If you have the feeling of that sucked and I never want to feel that again, I'm going to go curl into a ball in the shower and
Right.
and cry and you know, videotape it and send it to, you know, my dad and be like, is this what you want? You know, whatever it is that you got from that has to be something that makes you want to try again and get better.
What is the biggest movie? Well, you were in The Heat. I love.
He was kind of the first thing I think that gave me a little bit of a boost as far as like, and also validate, honestly, so many auditions up to that point. I mean, Andrew and Bobby can attest to this. It's like, it's never one thing, but it definitely, you know, you need something substantial to kind of, again, validate all the grinding and because you can get so monotonous, and that's why stand-up, podcasting, sketches, all that stuff, and just creating is so necessary. Because if you're just relying on those auditions to pan out, you're gonna.
Yeah, but you have scenes. I mean, very memorable scenes. Like it's not like.
Oh yeah.
And you're working with Sandra Bullock and
totally,
so,
and making friendships from that movie was special. I mean, all you know.
Yeah, any cool stories with Sandra Bullock?
Well, I remember getting to I remember my mom's friend from Temple was like, "What did her boobs smell like?" Because I got to motorboat her in the movie, and Sandra is a legend. I mean, she is as cool as she is nice, as she is gorgeous, as she is funny, and just so professional and so normal and so cool. It's like it really gave me a nice reminder of just like, oh, you can be in this business for a while and do a lot of cool shit and keep
normal.
it. Yeah. And Melissa McCarthy same way, and Paul Feig, directing it, was just coming off Bridesmaids and was so
he was on the
such
top
a fan of making the movie as funny as possible. Michael McDonald, Michael Rappaport, Joey McIntyre, met a lot of really cool people from that I've stayed real close in touch with, which I know doesn't happen all the time, but it was a couple months of being around each other and shooting the shit. And
I guess you got along with them well because you did Spy too,
Spy and Paul threw me in Spy and Ghostbusters and this School of Good and Evil and he calls me his little good luck charm. He likes to keep throwing me in shit and and you just hope that as your stock grows, he finally puts me in something where the part's a little bit more substantial. I just did this John Cena action movie with him called Grand Theft Lotto, I think, with Awkwafina and John Cena. I think it comes out in I think the new year or December, but real funny action comedy. I think it's gonna be on Amazon, but that really gave me a nice boost. And then, you don't start, Bobby even told me, it's so funny. He goes, we went back, because I just started headlining after that. He was like, you're done touring with me. You're in movies now. I was like, I'm in one movie. It's not changing anything.
That's
like, you're done.
2012?
Yeah. In 2013 when the movie came out, he's like, you got to start headlining and try to start doing whatever. And so I did. But I remember he goes, guess what? When you come back, he was like, have fun shooting. That's so big. It's awesome. It's going to be great. But when you come back to the Comedy Store, he's like, it's just back to the grind. He's like, and it's not going to mean shit and no one's going to fucking care and whatever. And it was, he said it with a smile, and it wasn't like he was trying to pull the rug out from under me, but he was trying to give me a dose of, like a dose of reality of like, don't slow down and stop because you think things are going to come pouring in. And they didn't, I got some cooler opportunities, but you still got to cash in on those. And I've kept it steady. I think you just want to work, man. And you want to keep stacking the chips. Every year I want to get better in all facets than I was the year before. And hopefully, be be in cool projects that people want to see. You know, I had this scene in Barbie was longer than it ended up being. It's only a couple lines, but it was a nice longer scene with Margot and Ryan, and it gets chopped down. You got no control over that, but getting to do it was cool. The experience of it was great.
Right.
And Pam and Tommy led to Chippendales because of that guy just liking what I did with Jay Leno in that. So you just, again, you want to control what you can control. Do your job. Be nice. Don't be a piece of shit. I don't think there's any prerequisite of like you have to be fun on set, but like it doesn't hurt if you're chumming people up and like
it looks like a very healthy. I don't know if you saw the Bryan Cranston like advice to actors, and they feel like very much in that philosophy. Like, I don't know, you're not there to get a job. You're there to show them what you can do.
Yeah.
And then you walk out of that audition and you forget about it. You do your best. That's
Oh, totally.
And like they don't owe you anything.
No, that is sound advice because we've all had those moments where you walk out and you're just like, you're fixated on it and you're like, I want this so bad, but you got to just go, it's done. You leave it alone.
Control.
Don't second guess. But, you know, and acting and stand-up are so synonymous at this point where it's like, you know, the more you get of one, hopefully you get more opportunities in the other. But people ask a lot too, and I'm sure Andrew and Bobby have gotten asked this where it's like, and I don't know what you like better, stand-up or acting, but
I mean, I met all of the big comedians through their movies first, you know, like growing up in Spain, like I couldn't watch stand-up. There was stand-up in Spanish, but
who's the comedian in Spain that, is there any sort of Chappelle?
No, there's nothing like that. No, they're doing like monologues, like they call it monologues as the stand-up, but they're not the same thing. And here is huge. So Robin Williams and I knew him from his movies, you know. I saw Peter Pan and whatever. Like I never
Flubber.
You're right. And then
struck me as a big flubber kid.
Yeah, I was a flubber kid. So then I start watching what they were doing. It's like, oh wow, all these people come from comedy, and they have that timing, that musicality that is cool to have that timing for movies, even if you're doing that dramatic. Or the Steve Carell, and I love Steve
Carell, Steve Martin, Chris Farley. I mean, John Belushi, Eddie Murphy, Jim Carrey, Sandler. Did you like Sandler at all?
That was a little harder for me to get into, you know. But
my wife is the same way.
But when he does something like Punch Drunk Love, and it's like, wait, like he also has these chops that I've never seen, and like
Uncut Gems.
Right, and so
good.
When he's acting like that, I love it. It's so cool to see that people can do both, because it's not an easy thing. I think comedy, because with comedy, you know when you're not doing well. Like it's quick, you know. You don't need.
That's another.
The
great
verdict
thing
comes immediately.
1,000. It's another great thing about stand-up where it's like you get that. You take a new bit to the stage and you know instantaneously if people are on board or not. Right. And that's the fun of it, is trying to. I mean, Bill Burr, I think, is the best at like digging a hole and almost setting the room up to be like, wait, what?
Right.
And then getting them fully on board by the end and being and
the confidence you have to do something.
Yeah.
Let's do some rapid questions. So
let's do it.
First, you're gonna be great at rapid questions.
First, all right, here we go. Rapid fire questions. Adam, first, can I get a hit of that joint?
Can you what?
Can I get a hit of that joint?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hit me. Hit me. All right, here we go. Rapid fire questions, here we go. All right, oh man, what am I doing? Sci-fi or fantasy?
Let's go fantasy.
Hulu or Netflix?
Oof. Damn, I mean, Hulu's giving me the most employment. Although, damn, dude.
You don't buy the hand.
Laurel or Yanni, right? Don't bite the hand that fuck, man. Hey, man, Netflix hasn't given me a special yet, so we're going Hulu, baby.
Hell yeah. What's your guilty pleasure movie?
Norbit. I think Norbit's fucking
that's a good one.
So funny. I think Eddie Murphy as those characters, as Raspusa, I think is her name, the heavy set gal, is so funny. And they didn't let him host the Oscars. Or no, he didn't win the Oscar for Dreamgirls, allegedly, because Norbit came out like a week before. And everybody was like, we ain't giving an Oscar to that guy, which is so fucked. But Norbit,
excellent.
I push that movie on friends all the time, and they're like, I'm deleting your number.
Yep.
Can you give me your best action movie one-liner before blowing someone away?
If you can't take the heat, get your own pot pie. Sorry about the fire. I fuck flames without a condom. My name's Jerry. Jerry Fire Guy.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple options.
If you could erase one movie from your memory, what would it be?
2 Girls, 1 Cup.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Yeah. Me too.
I mean, I don't know if that's a full feature length.
Short film, Maura?
Short film category. Yeah, was it? I think, did it hit the time length to be considered for a Sundance short?
I
Can
think
you
so.
imagine that those girls, the same way that like, you know, I've done short films where they're like, we're going to try to like show up at 10, we're going to have you out by noon. Mm-hmm. Let's say the director of 2 Girls, 1 Cup did that. Let's say they shot that at 7 a.m. and he's like, you'll be wiping the poop off your face by 9:30 and you'll still be able to hit a breakfast spot.
Yeah, I don't think they did many takes on that one.
No, I think that was a one and done.
I wonder.
I want to know who wrote the music. I want to know who found the girls.
Yeah.
And where are they? VH1's Where Are They Now? 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I'd love to do the VO.
You want to have too much information.
In 2005, Mary Janes and Kimberly Swank, no relation to Hillary, embarked on a journey of poop and puke, who coincidentally are the names of the beach cops that they're trying to pitch in a cartoon about Venice beach cops called Puke and Poop. Rob Puke and Dan Poop. Look, I'll never forget where I was on 9/11 and who sent me the link to 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Mm-hmm. And that is what's great about this country is the highs and lows, those two things, I don't put them on the same wavelength at all as far as tragedies go. But
they hit.
They hit hard. Mm-hmm. You know, I never have forgotten either one.
All right. Ridley Scott's original Alien or James Cameron's sequel, Aliens?
I'm going first Alien, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Besides Dark Knight, what movie have you rewatched the most?
Dumb and Dumber, As Good as It Gets, and Moneyball with Brad Pitt.
Nice. What is the most annoying thing that people do in movie theaters?
Man, time out your crunches and your bag opens.
Yes.
Time that out, man.
Time it out.
Like, do it before the movie starts. You are such a fucking piece of shit if the movie's 12 minutes in and you're like,
Also, yeah, wait for the explosion.
yeah, wait for the explosion.
Yeah.
You heard the man. Wait for the explosion. If there's anything you learned from today's show,
Right.
what is it?
Wait for the explosion.
Nope, you said it better the first time. We're going with the first take.
Would you rather have a beer with Maroney or Commissioner Gordon?
I think Commissioner Gordon. Just because, you know, the cartoon version of Commissioner Gordon from the Batman cartoon was always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know who voiced him, but it was always a guy like this. Always a cartoon. The commissioner is always a gravel, heavy-set, bald mustache. You know, I look like I make my own kettle corn. You know, I look like I named my dog Queef. Yeah. We got to get Batman. We got to get Batman back into the Gotham City rigmarole because we got too many thugs and not enough hugs. Yeah, Commissioner Gordon, out.
Nice. Last question. If your life was a movie, what would the title be?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So before we close, I have a few questions relating the movie to your life. So the Joker loves chaos. What's the wildest, most chaotic thing that you have experienced in your life?
I did a show in Paso Robles, California, a year into being Wolverine, at the top of a brewery, 300 people packed in. They don't have any comedy clubs out there. My buddy Brett Riley booked this show out there. He used to live there. And I'm doing bits about being Wolverine. And it's going well. The crowd's very generous with their laughs. And there's a woman off to the corner about 15 feet away from me. It's in wine country, so everyone's getting hammered. And she starts saying some things to me, and I kind of chirp back, and then she was like, "Come give me a kiss." I was like, "Should I let her give me a kiss?" And I go over there, she licks the side of my face. I go, "Jesus, I think I got herpes and AIDS in the same dose, or the same, lick." That gets a hacky laugh. And then I'm looking down to think of my next move, and I see in my peripheral vision, she didn't like that I got to laugh at her expense. And I see her holding up her wine glass and does that. And I see that in my periph. I didn't have enough wherewithal to like put it together of what was happening. So I didn't have enough time to really clock it and turn or duck. I just see that. So I go, and I put my hand up. The base of the wine glass hits my palm in a way that was, a little toasty, a little sweaty, a little balmy, and sticks just enough for long enough for it to stick to my hand like that, and I could wrap my hand around the base.
Wolverine.
So I caught a wine glass out of midair. I realize it. I turn. I see it. I look to the crowd. I go, ah! Everybody goes fucking, ah! Like nuts. I walk over. I set it down in front of her. Again, I'm 4 minutes removed from doing Wolverine bits, and I go, I told you I'm Wolverine, bitch. Don't fuck with me. Crowd goes nuts. I get off stage. People remind me shots. I get smoked out by a couple in the back of a two-door Subaru. They got into a big fight while I'm in the back smoking a blunt. They start fighting and like getting into a really big fight to where she's like, "I'm leaving you, Greg," and I'm in the back, be like, "You guys mind just opening that door? Let me slide out. Really, it seems like you got something you got to handle. I'm a little too high, a little too drunk. I feel like you might just drive off, and I'm gonna be in the back here." I get out. I make it back to the Courtyard Marriott in Paso Robles. I am blackout. We're talking Batman blackout times 2, and this is the second time. The third time was in Vegas about a year ago, and since then I've been even keeled. But pass out in the shower. I get in the shower fully clothed. I'm like, I gotta just wet down and sober up. I lean up against the shower like I lost a big game. Water's all of a sudden I wake up, I fall out of the shower. I wake up as I'm falling out of the shower. I fell asleep standing up in the shower. I wake up, could have knocked my head onto the concrete or the tile. My roommate at the time, this kid Will Clifton, guy from Kansas, military dude, real thick Midwest accent. He's like, "Brother, did you just fall out of the fucking shower?" I go, "No, man, I'm shaving." He goes, "How come there's water seeping out under the fucking door, dude? Brother, you fell out of the fucking shower." I go, "I'm fine, Will, mind your business." I get back in the shower, fall asleep again, fall out of the shower again. He hears gunk. He goes, "Brother, you definitely fell out of the shower that time." He goes, "Open the door, brother." I go, "No, man, this is embarrassing." He's like, "Just open the door." I open the door. I'm sopping wet. I opened a chicken pot pie I had from I think it was a Stouffer's or a lean cuisine of some sort from the hotel snack lounge. I opened it. I couldn't get it open. The microwave didn't work. I threw it against the window, fucking smacked. It shattered the window, and then I fell asleep. I get a call the next morning from the manager of the Courtyard. "So you're going to have to pay $350 to fix the window." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, apparently you threw a lean cuisine at it last night. I don't know what was happening, but your roommate said you fell asleep in the shower." So I go to Will. I was like, "The fuck, man? You ratted me." I was like, "Brother, man, what was I supposed to do, man? You broke the window with a cuisine." Anyway, so that was one of the darkest nights of my life.
that was a dark night.
Yes. I'm paralyzed from the neck down.
That's all right, man. Nobody's perfect.
Okay, one of the big themes of the movie, things that I think that make this movie great is that it has this duality. They have two composers. There's a Batman and Bruce Wayne. There's like
Was it Batman in Brisbane?
and Bruce Wayne.
Oh, Bruce Wayne, yeah.
And there is
There probably is a Batman in Brisbane. That's a great documentary. If you want to make that film, I'll narrate it.
You'll
There's
be in
a
it.
Batman everywhere. Alaska, Australia,
Fair.
and places that you would not expect, like Brisbane, Portugal.
But do you have a Batman Bruce Wayne? Do you have two personalities or not? You're always.
I'm a Gemini, so yeah, I think historically we have two sides to us. That's not what they told you. Yes, it is. No, there's the upbeat like party side, and then there's the I need to take a chill pill and be by myself for a bit. Yeah.
Another big theme of the movie is that the Joker brings us fear. So what are your biggest fears?
Oh, this podcast going another 10 minutes. No, I'm joking. I mean, truly something, like my mom, I say, is like my hero, did the single mom thing. Mm-hmm. She's just my biggest champion and just the greatest person I've ever met. Something is happening to her, death is imminent, right? But I just want her to be around as long as possible. So yeah, that's truly probably what I think about too often. And as you get older and your folks get older, you just think about it too frequently. So I try to B, go home as much as possible. I just was up there a few weeks ago for about a week, and she had a shoulder surgery, and a friend passed, so I tried to go up there to just cheer her up. And but yeah, that's probably number one.
That's the worst thing about getting older, right? It's like when your parents are not taking care of you anymore. You're like the
you're taking
changes.
care 1,000. But
Right.
you know, it's life.
Yeah.
And, but I hope she's around as long as possible.
And do you have or have you had an Alfred in your life, like someone who has supported you, a mentor?
Yeah, mom for sure. And I'll throw Bobby Lee's name in there. Bobby was so instrumental in my transition from Wolverine to full-time stand-up.
How did that happen? Was he like, were you doing open mics at
We
the
matched
time?
on Grindr. And
Yeah, well,
he was real aggressive.
that's how he has found a few of
Yeah,
his
he's found
open
a few of
micers.
his openers. Yeah, Sandy Danto, I know he met on Grindr, and Carlos for sure. We were at the Comedy Store, and he saw me go up, and he was like, "Man, you crushed. You want to open some colleges for me?" I was like, "Yeah." Oh my God! And it was the first guy. There was a big guy like that came up to me really at the Comedy Store. And then he brings me down to Tommy, who was the booker at the time, and goes, "Tommy, put this guy up in the original room. You should pass him. He's really funny." And Tommy goes, "Well, you think you could go up and crush right now after Bobby, who murders all the time?" And I go, "Yeah, I could not." But I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, why don't you work here? Get a job here, and then we'll slowly filter you in." And I did that for about 3-5 years, working the phones. Got to be more comfortable at the store, and then Bobby started taking me on the road with him. The more reps I got, and then that was invaluable experience to not only do stand up outside of LA, but to travel and to meet these clubs, and which paid dividends down the line, and to do 30 minutes sometimes. One time Bobby was like, "Do 45. I'm going to do 20." I mean, it was just an awesome time, and he definitely he knows that he's being that way, but I don't think he. You compliment him on it.
He doesn't like to compliment.
Acknowledge the greatness.
Yeah. The Dark Knight also explored the theme of sacrifices. So what's the biggest sacrifice you've made?
I mean, God, I initially thought of my health, but I don't want to. That's a dark answer. But this is the Dark Knight movie review show. So, sacrifice probably, and I feel like I'm really good to my friends. I'm a very loyal friend. I'm a very supportive friend. I take pride in that, whether it's remembering them on birthdays, or a buddy of mine just had surgery and sending stuff to his house before he got back from the hospital, stuff like that. Being thankful and appreciative, and just trying to go out of my way to share the stuff that I get to experience with a lot of my friends when I go home to Seattle, or when I got to play in the NBA Celebrity All-Star Game in 2019 with Brad. We went to Charlotte, and I got a couple extra tickets so that two of my best buds from Seattle could come out and share all that with us, and just things like that I try to be cognizant of. But you do sacrifice. Like, I've missed some weddings. I've missed the first gig Bobby took me on. I missed one of my best buds' wedding because Bobby was like, "You want to come on the road? Here's the first weekend." And I thought if I said no, that was he wouldn't ask me again. And he told me, he goes, "Yeah, I probably wouldn't have." So, and then I was on the road with him for 3 years, and that was a big career shift. So, sacrifice, the social life stuff I've sacrificed. Early on, I sometimes think back of like what I missed out on, but what's the biggest sacrifice, man?
Yeah, you'd sacrifice a lot of personal life for
a lot of personal life stuff. Yeah. But unfortunately you can't have a plan B. You got to go full steam ahead. You only get one shot at it. You only get one life.
Right.
Unless Tony Robbins comes out with some, new seminar about like, you actually live 3 times while you're living. It was Mike Lindell, actually, not Tony Robbins. Buy my pillow. It's not my pillow. It's your pillow. But if I come to your house and come on it, is it my pillow again? Even though it's your head sleeping on it? Yeah. I'd say the personal life stuff. But now I feel like I'm getting back to trying to, like you said earlier, take the foot off the gas and be around fam and friends more, because we're getting older, man, And as the Joker said, why so serious?
What's your definition of success?
When you love what you do and you're making money from it.
I love that. Yes, that's great. Okay, so for those who haven't seen this movie, why should they watch The Dark Knight?
Because it's you're going to see one of the greatest performances in movie history. You get to see Aaron Eckhart, do a pretty good job of acting while getting burnt with, is it kerosene, gasoline?
Yeah, gas.
Diarrhea. Yeah, he's getting some up in his cheekbone area, and he's it was all right. Maggie Gyllenhaal is pretty stupendous. I don't use that word too much, but Heath Ledger will make you question everything you thought about acting. And the film is entertaining. And we go to the movies, like Nicole Kidman said, to be entertained. Who was that? That was not Nicole Kidman. The movies, go to the movies, because we love heart, we love romance, and like my friend Andre says, we love explosions. My name's Adam Ray, and I love The Dark Knight.
Thank you so much, Adam, for doing this.
Dude, pleasure.